Hi, Sandra, and welcome to this short interview about the upcoming webinar about the early phonetic awareness. I'm really, really grateful and happy and honored that you're here and you accepted that challenge.
It's very lovely to be here, and I'm really delighted to meet your community and talk about phonics and English and literacy, and hopefully leave everybody watching with some really good value that they can take away and use in their classrooms straight away.
I'm sure they will. So before we get started, could you please introduce yourself to our teachers, please? Who is Sandra Pyne?
Hi there, my name is Sandra and I am a veteran teacher, tutor, dyslexia specialist, and all of my experience, I think, has been with children who speak English as a second language. I did the job that you do exactly. I was for very, very many years a teacher in a bilingual school in Germany, and half the children spoke English as a native language, half the children spoke English as a foreign language. And it was my job to teach these children who spoke no English how to speak English, how to read English, and to write English. And I support them to teach phonics in a way that works really well for their students. I'm also a qualified dyslexia specialist, so I'm very much used to working with children who may have difficulties, who have challenges, who have learning differences. And all of this comes from a long story, a very long background in teaching English. And I originally started my career in Oxford, where I worked for Oxford University Press. I was one of the lexicographers writing the dictionaries. And my specialism was dictionaries for learners of English way back in the beginning of my career. And I think two languages important to me personally for two reasons. I have a child who is dyslexic, so I know what that's like as a parent, as well as a teacher, as well as a specialist, to work with children who have challenges. I also have two children who do not have any challenges. And I don't live in the UK, I live in Germany. So I spend most of my life speaking another language. I speak German in my daily life. So I have a whole language background, and I love this international experience that we have as just speakers and learners of other languages. So I think that's pretty much my story.
I think that your story is just up our alley and that you will really address our teachers' needs. You've introduced me to your jigsaw phonics, and I'm truly convinced that you are an expert in the field. However, when I asked you to present the phonetic awareness to my colleagues, I wanted you to tailor it to the chess book material, namely to my picture book, Winter Holiday, because the way I approach young foreign language learning is the project work. So Sandra, what would you say are the benefits of addressing phonetic awareness in the context of a project story like the chess book story offers?
It's absolutely vital, because a story is such a great way of giving context and making meaning. And if children have a context for their learning, if they have a way of making meaning from their learning, they will remember what they learned. Phonics just by itself is just a mechanical process. And the most important thing that you can do is give this context, give this meaning to them. And that ensures it goes into their long-term memory and that they can actually activate it and use it. And I think that's actually where your chest book work comes in, excuse me, so incredibly well.
Oh, great. Thank you. I think we're onto something. So, because this interview is to invite teachers to get to the webinar. So what do you think you can offer them? What will they get?
When you come to the webinar with me, and of course Mija, I'm just going to share the screen here for you. What we are going to do is we are going to show you how incredibly valuable the language in Mija's chest book series is, for all the reasons of context, memory, activation, learning that I've mentioned previously. We're going to show you a little bit of how and why we teach English based on phonics. Why is phonics so important? We're going to talk about learning English versus learning Slovenian. We are going to compare and contrast the challenges of learning English and Slovenian, so you have a good overview of the differences. I plan to give you 4 interactive, differentiated activities you can use immediately in your classroom. And they're formats that you can use again and again and again. And I plan to give you 2 free gifts to support your teaching that could save you around £200.
That is something. I think it's worth coming to the webinar. Thank you, Sandra, very, very much. I'm really glad we had this little conversation, and see you in November.
So that's Monday, November the 11th at 6 p.m. with me, Sandra Pyne, and with you, Mija. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
I'm looking forward to that event too. Thank you, Sandra.